There it goes. I state your name,
I, Tom Augerton,
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as council member
discharge the duties as council member
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability. So I do affirm.
according to the best of my ability. So I do affirm.
All right.
Thank you.
Ernie Bunch. Come on down.
Excuse me, that's Mayor Bunch until he takes.
Mayor Bunch. Would you like to repeat that?
Oh, you got my whole name on here. Nobody knows that.
All right.
Here we go. Ernest B. Bunch III, affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties as council member of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona, according to the best of my ability. So I do affirm. And I'll sign this with a rodeo pin. By the way, people, rodeo tickets went on sale on the 1st online.
Paul Altamont.
Currently a mayor, council member. Hey, Rich.
Raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Paul Elkema,
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
and that I will faithfully and impartially
And I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as council member
discharge the duties as council member
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability. So
According according to the best of my ability.
so I do affirm.
So I do affirm.
Congratulations. You will be, I'll say you for less.
Yes, yes.
You bring up the.
Make it a good one.
Would you like to repeat or would you like to repeat? I state your name.
Hi, Thomas McGuire.
Yes,
Yep. Hi, Thomas McGuire.
Affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as council member
discharge the duties as council member
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability, so I do affirm.
according to the best of my ability. So I do affirm. Thank you.
Would you like to repeat after me? Or would you like to-
I will repeat after you.
I state your name.
I, Dusty Rhodes,
Affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the
that I will
same
bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as council member
discharge the duties of council member
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability, so I do affirm.
according to the best of my ability, so do I affirm.
Congratulations.
I, Catherine Royer, affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties as council member of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona, according to the best of my ability. So I do affirm.
Last time I saw you there.
I state your name.
I, Robert Morris,
Affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and defend them against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
and that I will faithfully and impartially
And I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties as mayor
discharge the duties as mayor
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
of the town of Cave Creek, Arizona,
according to the best of my ability, so I do affirm.
according to the best of my ability, so I do affirm.
Congratulations. Oh, if you guys could come down real quick for a photo. please. Just right in the front, so you get that photo.
I'm right here.
Big two smiles on a foreign promise. Okay.
The December 5th, 2022 Town Council meeting of Cave Creek, Arizona is officially in session. We will start out, and I'd like to welcome all the council members. I think it's going to be a wonderful council. We'll continue and make more progress than we've ever made before. We'll start out with the roll call.
All right. Councilmember Augerton.
Present.
Councilmember Bunch.
Here.
Councilmember Elkama.
Here.
Councilmember McGuire.
Present.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Here.
Councilmember Royer.
Here.
Mayor Morris.
Present. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I happen to have some people related to me in the audience tonight. CJ McMahon, Brady McMahon, Blake Sauer, and Jackson Sauer will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Oh, congratulations.
I
Yeah, wow.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Under the public announcements, the first thing we're going to do is give each of the council members an opportunity to recognize anybody in the audience who's here to support them tonight. So with that, anybody would like to speak? Catherine?
At the end, I'd like to introduce my husband, Gabe Royer. He has been a true supporter of mine. From the day I told him I was going to run, which was a shock. And he has also helped me learn a lot about town business because he's been involved in the town for many years prior to my running for office. He was involved on the white paper committee and on the finance committee, budget committee, and he even helped read meters for a time when we really needed people to help out the town. So my husband and my hero, Gabe Royer.
I'd like to mention that my wife, Mary Rhodes, is in the audience, and we've been married for, it'll be 38 years this coming May. And she is a much better woman than I am a man because she's had to put up with me all these years. And she is everything that I could have ever expected in a wife and more. And I just thank her for the support and for helping me out in all the things that I've done.
I thank my wife, Elaine, who has been supporting me in the 15 years or so I've been on the council. The only problem is she did not teach me to play cards very well. And in 2009, I drew the wrong cards. I've got to work on that.
I'm fortunate tonight to have my lovely wife Gloria here. She really helped me with this, get this plan together and have it make sense. So I thank you and love you for that. And also I have a couple of neighbors here, Daryl and Rose Reiner, who carried papers around for signatures, and they've just been a constant support. So thank you.
I believe this is the 9th time I've taken an oath of office in one form or another in this council chambers. And my family said, hell, he's doing it again. So there ain't nobody here to support me.
We all support you, Ernie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have anybody here this evening, but if you run into my wife, tell her I'm at the Elks Lodge on Monday nights. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to reintroduce my 4 grandsons, CJ and Blake and Brady and Jax. And they're here to support me tonight. I thank you guys. They started my first campaign with me. Janet was supposed to be here, but she's not quite here. So I'm sure she'll come in a little bit later. I'd also like to recognize 2 good friends, Pastor Steve Gilbertson and Donna. Welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. And with that, we will go to a couple other announcements. CCUSD is having a Run the District event on January 7th. It's $25 per runner or walker. I'm sure it goes to benefit the school fund. And you can get details at www.ccuef.org. With that, we'll go to call to the public.
Reg Monachino.
Oh, here we go. Reg Monachino, Cave Creek resident. Mayor, is there a vice mayor? Not yet.
There's not.
Members of council. David Phelps. Town of Cave Creek is no different than any other municipality. It funds fixed expenses with variable revenues. I was going to speak on agenda item number 2, but there's no call to the public, so I'm sneaking in here now. I suggest that the town expand existing revenue stream by ensuring that rental properties pay taxes. When I was on council, I instituted a program to collect additional revenues. The program didn't last. The town manager and the accountant didn't want to work at it. There are well over 100 rentals in the town of Cave Creek. Do they pay taxes? Renting property is a business. Do they have a business license? Are they registered with the county? A MAG study showed that the town of Cave Creek has the second highest per capita rental properties in the state of Arizona. There are over 100 rental properties. My guess is there's many, many more than that. I suggest that this is a revenue stream that's available to the town. I'm available to provide additional information if anybody else would like it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reg.
Bruce Arlen.
Thank you. Bruce Arlen, Cave Creek resident. I just want to congratulate everybody here from me to you. Great campaigns. We have a new mayor, an ex-mayor, 3 new council members, and two ex-mayors, and 2 incumbents, council people. So I'm very excited. A lot of other people are too. Looking for a new day, a new way. And I think we have some great new energy. And I just want you to know that there's a lot of residents who are looking to you now. No kidding around. This is not just words at the podium. For a new, invigorated, creative, solution-oriented, action-packed Cave Creek. We have a lot of challenges. And you're now here. This is the night that it starts, not tomorrow, right now. And I just have to say it, which I did. So thank you very much. The other thing I wanted to say, and I want to report to you, you all know this, and most of the people here, we had our third, not really third annual, but our third large Cave Creek Dark Sky event in Spur Cross Recreation Area. It went very well. We had another 500 people. Tons of volunteers, big success. And we're continuing to inform the public, including people who come up to me, email me, call me. They've already made changes in their lighting, going towards our Cave Creek lighting codes, surpassing some of them. Letting me know there's going to be a lot of testimonies that I'll be publishing. You need to know that because it's kind of a big deal. People also come from a wide radius around the metropolis. Everybody, most of the people are from Cave Creek, but as far away as Goodyear, Chandler, and those kinds of places, including the fact that from my sort of straw poll, it looks like about 76% of the people spent money in restaurants or gas stations in the town core before or after the event. So we're bringing revenue to the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
No additional speakers.
With that, we'll move to the town manager report.
First of all, I'd like to begin, Mayor and council members, with introducing Ben Robinson, who was taking the photograph of the council. So everyone knows what he looks like. So he is our new digital communication specialist, and we welcome him. And today he pretty much was hitting the ground running. So
Great.
we're happy to have him. I also have an announcement because this is happening tomorrow. We'll have a traffic restriction plan that is planned for Schoolhouse Road. It begins tomorrow at 7 a.m. and it lasts until 4 p.m. So that some utility work on the west side of the road can be completed. It's on Schoolhouse Road, restricted to one lane with flaggers and controlling traffic. But just be careful in that area and go slow, please. So I'd like to congratulate all of you and welcome you as members of the new town council for the town of Cave Creek. And I wanted to take the opportunity to speak with you and highlight the importance of the town of Cave Creek strategic plan and our mission, and share how the plan guides the council, the town manager, and our directors in prioritizing projects to achieve the goals of the plan. Our mission is to support the community by effectively managing public services and fostering our unique Southwestern ways of life. To that end, the town of Cave Creek Town Council, along with the town manager and directors, developed and continue to operate under the town's strategic plan. Research has shown that by developing this type of plan, communities, including the town of Cave Creek leadership, have a much higher sense of ownership over the direction of the work and will exhibit higher energy and passion toward achieving the outcomes. The ownership leads to more efficient use of time, more creative work output, and increased job satisfaction for all of us, whether you're paid or not paid. It's truly can make a big difference. The 4 focus areas of our strategic plan are infrastructure and services, community culture, financial viability, and governance. And within those 4 focus areas are supporting goals that are set for a period of 2 to 5 years. The town's budget is driven by the priority of the goals, meaning the budget each fiscal year includes funds for certain projects or staffing or equipment to further those goals. The town manager's annual performance goals also tie to the goals that are set in the strategic plan. The goals for each of the focus areas are reviewed and updated every year or 2 during a retreat where the council, the manager, and the directors together meet to review the goals and work with our consultant, Eric Bailey of Bailey Strategic Innovation Group. The 2023 retreat for this council is scheduled for Tuesday, January 17 and Wednesday, January 18 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Staff will be providing more details about this retreat in the coming days. And on behalf of the town staff, the directors, and myself, we congratulate you all, and we look forward to working together with you all. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And next we'll have the consent agenda. We'll have the approval of the November 7th, 2022 regular council meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move now to the general agenda items. Council discussion, nominations, and appointment of a council member to serve as vice mayor for a 2-year term according to Town Code Section 30.21. So this is the election for the vice mayor. And we've tried a number of different methods on this over the years, and the one we have tonight avoids some of the clumsiness and hard feelings of some other methods that we use in beginning the nomination. So each person on the dais here has a ballot with the names of the other council members on it. And we will give, as of right now, they're all nominated. Once we, each council member will designate their choice for who should be the vice mayor. We will give those to the town clerk, who will read them out. So there's nothing secret. These are not secret ballots. This will all be public information. And then I will ask for a motion on the person that is the top vote getter, hopefully more than 4. If we have a tie like that, we'll have to scramble some, but I don't think that's going to happen. So at this time, I would ask any council members who do not wish to be considered for vice mayor, if they'd please let us know.
I don't want it.
Okay, Ernie,
No.
Tom, you're out?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't.
There's looking.
I'm interested.
Okay. So we have 2 people interested, Catherine
Yes, I am.
and Thomas. So at this point, I'd ask each of the council members to vote for one between Tom McGuire and Catherine Royer. Yes, these will all be read out, so you will know how everybody voted.
You just pick it up.
While she's tabulating, I'll just say that I made some people really mad, because there's a lot of, if you have more than one person, you vote against somebody because you like somebody else, you make this person mad. It's been real clumsy at times appointing. So hopefully this will take care of that and still get us a good, fair election.
Councilmember Bunch, Catherine Royer. Councilmember Royer, Catherine Royer. Councilmember McGuire, Thomas McGuire. Councilmember Rhodes, Catherine Royer. Councilmember Elkma, Catherine Royer. Mayor Morris, Catherine Royer. And Councilmember Algerton, Catherine Royer.
I'd like a motion to make Catherine the vice mayor.
I'd like to make that motion. I nominate Catherine Royer for vice mayor.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. Deserving.
Thank you.
Second.
We have to have roll call on this, Counselor?
Because you don't have unanimity, you do need that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Augustine,
Aye.
Councilmember Bunch,
Yes.
Councilmember Elkma,
Yes.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Aye.
Councilmember Royer,
Yes.
Mayor Morris.
Aye. With that, Catherine, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The next item on the agenda is something that I asked to have put on there, and that is we've got 3 new council members, and we had a very successful session just completed, and we're looking forward. You've already heard about the strategic plan that is planning operation that's going to take place, that's going to drive the town for the next several years. And I thought it'd be good at this point to just go down the list of council members with approximately 3 minutes to comment regarding the opportunities for the Cave Creek town government. Where should we go from here? So I think we just start on the left and just go right around the horn, if that's okay with everybody. Catherine, why don't you take it?
Well, of course, I have prepared remarks because I believe in always being prepared. Since my nickname is Water Girl AZ, of course, I have to start with that subject. as we speak about our opportunities for 2023. It's been so wonderful to have rain this past weekend. It helps refill the CAP and the SRP reservoirs and replenish our underground aquifers. It nourishes our plants and animals and our very souls, those of us who live in this very arid desert. But what it doesn't do is contribute to the Colorado River water supply, which is fed by snowmelt in the Colorado Rockies. Since Cave Creek relies solely on Colorado River supplies from the Central Arizona Project for its surface water supplies, the priorities on this council and mine since I was elected in 2018 is facilitating everything possible to protect our water resources from CAP, which is our lifeblood. As a status update on the Colorado River, for the first time ever in 2023, the lower Colorado River Basin will be operating under a Tier 2A shortage. This equates to reductions of 34% of CAP's normal supply, 21% of Arizona's water supply, and about 9% of Arizona's total water use. For CAP water users, it means there is no longer excess water available and or agricultural pools. It means a 3% reduction for municipal users like Cave Creek. And hydrologic modeling indicates that the Colorado River Basin will be in deeper levels of shortage in the coming years. More will need to be done to stabilize the levels of our two main reservoirs, Lake Powell and Lake Mead. Any additional reduction in supplies called for by the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation will be on top of the Tier 2A shortage. We have made tremendous progress in making improvements to our Cave Creek and Desert Hills water utilities and our wastewater treatment plant. We have for the first time banked water, our excess CAP supply underground. However, banking may come to a screeching halt because we have been asked by CAP to support the system-wide drought by contributing our excess water for a fee to help save the reservoirs. This will most likely be a council decision in 2023. In addition to focusing on water, my attention will be on continuing to improve our outreach and relationships with our customers and community. And to that end, I heartily welcome our new digital communications specialist to support that effort. Our fiscal responsibility as council members is always a top priority. Our new council will soon be meeting to review and suggest potential changes and improvements to the current strategic plan, as Carrie mentioned, which guides our very capable staff and their performance objectives throughout the year. I believe my strength as a council member is rooted in my deep respect and admiration for the residents and businesses of Cave Creek. This council is accountable to the people who live here and to the businesses that sustain our sales tax revenues. It is a delicate balance as open space, low-density housing, dark skies, and our Western equestrian heritage are so important to us all. Eons ago, when I was a young reporter and public affairs director, federal law required broadcasters to provide both sides of the story on controversial issues. While it is no longer the law, that commitment to ensuring accuracy and public information about the issues at hand is still ingrained in me. I will always be listening, observing, gathering, and considering all of the facts before making important decisions on our community's behalf. I am proud to be an elected official. I take it very seriously, and I will continue to fulfill this position with honor and integrity. Thank you for your faith in me. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a prosperous new year to all of us.
Thank you. Councilmember Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank the citizens of Cave Creek for electing essentially a new town council. We have a new mayor. We have 3 new councilmen, councilpersons. We have some unique challenges coming up. I've spoken to a lot of folks that supported me and a few folks that haven't supported me. And there are some common concerns. Development, which ties to water. There are a lot of problems that we've got coming up, as Councilman Royer, Vice Mayor Royer mentioned. We're going to have some water problems here, and we need to work that issue as hard as we can. So we're going to have to take a look at new development and developments very carefully to make sure that we have sufficient resources to support them. I think we also have some other things that are going to compound the problem. I've been very active in the financial community for a while through some of the work that I did previously. We have probably a major recession, if not depression, coming up over the next 2 to 5 years. We have to have solid revenue streams to be able to survive as a town. I totally agree with former Councilman Monachino. We need to start looking at other sources of revenue. Now, I am totally against property taxes, but I think we need to look at other alternatives available. And I think we need to start listening to what the concerns are the town. We need to be friendly for families. We have Bike Week. That's great for adults, but it's not really kid friendly. We need to start looking at things like the rodeo, which I heartily support, and get kids involved in things like that. We need to get kids involved in the things that we do as a town. And I've discussed that with you before, Mr. Mayor. And I think there's some things we can do to get those folks involved. And I think that would be a great challenge. And I look forward to working with all of you, with the staff and everyone else over the next couple of years. Thank you.
Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you. I'd like to start out by thanking some people who took some extremely important moves in setting up Cave Creek. That included incorporation so that we would not become a part of Phoenix, preserving the top of Black Mountain, the progressive zoning, going from concentrated zoning near the town center to large lot zoning as you went out into the further distances. Support for land preservation, which is something we worked with the Desert Foothills Land Trust, preserving Spur Cross, and commercial and tourist offerings that have come to this town. Local government is a team effort. All government needs to be a team effort. And we all look forward to working with the staff. Different people on the team have different abilities and different things that they bring. And this is an example of where the sum can be more than the sum of its parts. The whole can be more than the sum of its parts, because each one of us brings unique things. Water will be extremely important, as referred to by my previous two council members. Water banking and education of the public as to how we can go about conserving water. Growth and development needs to be watched very carefully. We do have to follow the law, and we need to work with the citizens so they understand what our limitations are. Financial viability is extremely important. Our environment is very important, and there will be some future decisions that will be critical. I wish that Town Manager Direct could be with us long into the future. However, we will be at a point where we're going to have to look at a new town manager, and that's one of the things that is going to be very important in the future. And I hope that we can also attract younger and new people to the town, to the council, and to the various volunteer organizations. It would be nice to have a greater range of age than we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember McGuire. Councilmember Elkema.
It is an absolute honor to serve on the Cave Creek Town Council. And I thank each of you that managed to vote for me. I appreciate that. As I embark on this important effort, I want to share the premise of service that I've always held, and that is the tagline on my campaign was "Preservation is progress." And I really believe that. I contributed significantly to the language of our 2021 general plan, and I understand the general plan is an aspirational document and not a fixed set of laws. But the voters of the community contributed a great deal to that new general plan, and in the end voted for it as a guide for the next 10 years. Preserving Cave Creek is basic to that general plan. I'll base my thinking and votes on the rules which guide the position I hold, and in this case, that means our town ordinances. As a town grows, certain ordinances may need to change, and there are processes for making those changes. My role as a councilman will be defined by decisions that move us as a community toward the goals described in the general plan. My decisions will not be about personalities or in response to criticisms from those who resist change. I will be respectful and I will be persistent. I'm absolutely convinced that Cave Creek is at a critical tipping point where every decision the council makes is either moving toward a Phoenix style of urban life or moving toward the Cave Creek version of the rural life we all value. I worked to develop the local landmarks program, and it was easy for me to understand how much our history sets the trend which defines how we view life here in town. The people who live here value being able to speak their mind. That language can get spicy, but in the end, the value that stands out is being able to voice your opinion and feel like it's heard. Every community has some diversity, and successful communities value diverse voices and opinions through respectful conversation and honoring the value of consensus. This is a lofty goal for human beings, and it takes real work to reach common goals. I will listen. I'm an experienced civic leader, but I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I value creative thinking and welcome it. I strive to understand before being understood. I will always listen to you, and moving the town toward the 2021 general plan goals is my roadmap for serving you. I'm honored for that opportunity. Thanks.
As usual, I didn't prepare anything. I too have an aversion to property tax. However, I'm going to tell you something right now, that this community is one of the few communities in the state of Arizona that doesn't pay for public safety with a property tax. By making those choices and making those decisions, we have handicapped some of the other things that we would like to do and be in a better position. So having said that and made some more enemies, my friends on the right that are usually with me are going to call me a rhino again. Well, it's fine. I got this big horn growing out of the center of my forehead, and I don't care what they call me. That is a bottom line fact that the public safety is paid for with property taxes. As far as the development, we did the overlays after the last Great Recession. We're still developing those properties, moving those into commercial. And they're deriving some revenue for us, which is why we're able to look real good right now as financially as far as public safety by paying for that stuff with property taxes. I don't know that when things turn south on us, that we're going to be able to continue to make those claims, and we might have to come to the town, to the voters, and ask that they support themselves with public safety. That's about all I got to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Ogden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been about 23 or 24 years since I sat up here. Now, David Phelps was in the audience last time I was here.
Mhm.
Martha Arnold was still working. She's the only person left that speaks Hohokam. Carrie was here. And Carrie remembers that we parked my daughter at the staff table from 93 until 99. She arrived in a stroller and sat here for years with a crayon box and a coloring book. Writing town code. We had 3 town managers in that period. So Carrie is a survivor in more ways than one. This is not known, but I will tell you this, that when Spur Cross was in its early days, Carrie would, with me and the town engineer, Phil Hughes, and I think sometimes Tom Irvin, we would walk door to door along Morning Star where the Arlens live and others to try to get that 51% of assessed valuation to bring that land, which was in the county, into the town, so we could try to imprint the style of happenings out there that we wanted to do. So my hair was black, the parking lot wasn't paved, the restroom was out back. Okay, I'm kidding about that, but the sobering part of all of this is how many people that I used to work with who were volunteers in the community back then, some of whom are still active today, and so many are not here tonight. So as the Susan Clancy death just recently reminded us all, that The time on the 3 minutes with the clerk is bad enough, but the time on the big wall is even worse. So we should try to enjoy each other while we're here. Remember why we moved here. If I can be of any service to you downtown without causing problems in terms of helping staff with research and things like that, I would make that offer. I've been around since Rose Mofford was a page practically, so I can try to offer that downtown. But anyway, I'm very grateful to be back and hope I can do it justice. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. That's one of the joys of going last, is you can hear what everybody else said. I've been doing this, something like this for 10 years, beginning with the water, and it's been a slog. There have been so many improvements. We now know what the water costs. We know where the subsidies went. We know where the water is. We didn't know that a long time ago, 10 years ago. And it's time that we complete the water plan. Everything I know of in water is in motion right now, or just about to be in motion, especially with the Phoenix Interconnect. That's going to bring a tremendous amount of reliability, because it knocks out dozens and dozens and dozens of single points of failure where one piece of equipment can shut the town down completely for its water. Hopefully this next year and a half, we'll get it done before that happens. We're riding a peak, and that peak is the 5 years between now and when the loans are paid off for the utilities. There are tons of loans out there. It was over $60 million when I started. It's down in the low 20s now. So we've made tremendous progress in paying down the notes that financed all of the utility improvements in town. When those 5 years are up, we'll have an opportunity to kind of spread our wings. The town finances are about equally split, about 12 million each for the general fund and the utilities. When you only have $12 million and you take on $5 million worth of fire and emergency without any new sources of income, it's a challenge. And this council will have to deal with that challenge to get us through these 5 years. There have been a ton of changes. I think some of the things I'm most proud of are we've stopped the subsidies going, many of the subsidies to the sewer system, to Desert Hills. We've still got some to go, and they're on the agenda this year to stop the subsidies to development. How many people know that we subsidize development? We do, in my opinion. That $12 million general fund, though, which now is taking care of our fire department with the help of some, especially financing. We're financing the future rather than trying to pay it out of current income. But that we've got a big hole, and that hole is going to hit us hard, and that's roads, because highway taxes are going down because electric cars and because people aren't buying as much gasoline. And that has really cut in the amount of money we had to fix the roads around here. And if you live in Cave Creek, you know the roads are pretty sorry. There's a lot of them don't even have pavement on them. So we've got to find $1-2 million a year, something like that. We've got to really do that. And I think it's there. My expertise is in doing things that are hard, whether it's financial or technical. And so I looked at that challenge with relish. Finally, we have a unique town here in Cave Creek. There's nothing else like us. And we've got millions of houses to the south of us. I don't want to be like those places. If people want that, they ought to move there. If they want Cave Creek, we're here, and we need to preserve that. And that needs to be on the top of mind. I think that is by far and away the most common statements that are made to me around preserving the town. And I plan to do my part in making that happen. With that, we'll move to the next agenda item. Council discussion and approval of second reading of ordinance 02022-08, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the official town of Cave Creek zoning map by changing the underlying zone of two parcels totaling approximately 3.6 acres, parcels 211-47-087A and 211-47-088A, described in Exhibit 1 and depicted in Exhibit 2, from a desert rural residential DR 89 to a commercial buffer CB zone. Mr. Planning Director. Or Mr.
Hope to be the planning director soon.
Congratulations, Mayor and Council. You get to consider a second reading tonight of a zoning map amendment. So welcome.
First off, congratulations, Mayor Morris and Vice Mayor Roy, and also welcome the new members to the council, Councilmember Oggerton, Councilmember Elkema, and Councilmember Rhodes. Be looking forward to working with y'all for this term. And welcome back, Councilman Bunch and Councilmember McGuire. All right. Go ahead and begin now. Staff is here this evening to bring forward to council consideration of case Z-22-04 Kimley Horn zone change request application, second reading of ordinance 2022-08. The request is to amend the town of Cave Creek zoning map for the subject parcels from the existing DR 89 zoning district to commercial buffer. The properties are located along Carefree Highway between 51st Street to 52nd Street within the Carefree Highway specific area plan. At the Planning Commission meeting held on October 20th, 2022, the Town of Cave Creek Planning Commission voted 5-0 to recommend approval of zone change application case Z-22-04. At the previous Town Council meeting held on November 21st, 2022, the Town Council gave first reading of ordinance 2022-08, where council voted unanimously to approve case Z-22-04. Should council give second reading this evening, a 30-day effective period shall begin before the zoning is changed and the zoning map is updated. Mr. Mayor, at this moment, are there any questions for staff?
Questions?
Actually, I have a question for Mr. Sims. Was any legal advice provided in this last time?
Not the council, but the staff, yes.
Okay.
Seeing no comments, I guess we are prepared for a motion.
This is a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 020022-08. Well, I guess that's an O with the 08, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the town of Cave Creek zoning map by changing the underlying zoning of two parcels totaling approximately 3.6 acres, parcels 211-47, 087A and 211-47-088A, described in the Exhibit 1 and depicted in Exhibit 2 from a desert rural residence, DR 89 zone to a commercial buffer, CB zone.
Second. We're due for comments. Councilmember McGuire, you had the motion.
We did it before. We're really glad to have commercial land for some of the reasons that our new mayor has suggested. We need to bring in the money so that we can continue to serve our citizens in important duties.
Councilmember Bunch.
Yeah, with the changes we made to the uses in that area a while back, this will be revenue producing property on Carefree Highway where it belongs.
Other members, any comments?
No.
Part of the plan.
I guess we can do this with a voice vote since it's all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. Item 4, council discussion to approve of second reading of ordinance 2022-09 and ordinance of the mayor and town council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the town of Cave Creek Town Code, Chapter 53, capacity charges, specifically Section 53.01 capacity charges, and providing for severability, placed on the agenda by the utilities director.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. So this is the second reading of the ordinance to change the capacity fee section, section 53 of the town code. We've talked at length for several meetings. This has been going concurrently with the rate study for the utilities. So we've come back and talked to you several times, but I figure it's worth just a quick brief go through, which is these are one-time payments that are capacity fees or one-time payments paid by developers when they connect to the system. So these aren't user fees, ongoing user fees are just the one-time connection fees. They reflect the demands that these users place on our system. And they actually are required, there's actually requirements in state statute of what we can and cannot include within these fees. So the first thing we have to start with is actually come up with a evaluation of the system. So that comes, we've used the town's audited fixed asset list to actually come up with that list. And then that allows us to break down and determine capacity that's currently available and available for future users and currently being used by current users and what's available for future users. So in Desert Hills and Cave Creek, Desert Hills Water and Cave Creek wastewater, we use what's called a buy-in method. The buy-in method is when the infrastructure was built in advance and there's actually an excess capacity for new development available. Example would be the town paid to relocate the wastewater treatment plant down to 44th Street. That plant had an excess capacity, so that users are paying to help pay for the proportional share of relocating that facility and the facility available. For Cave Creek Water, it's a little bit different because while we have a lot of existing assets and there's some existing capacity, we also have in the capital program some upcoming projects to be funded, including the Phoenix Interconnect project and the project we have to do at the water treatment plant, which will actually change the technology out there again from the PALs, actually changing to the PALs formerly. So that's what's called a hybrid method was used, where we looked at both the available capacity and the future improvement costs within those. And again, these are costs that new developments would pay to reflect their impact to the system. So what's being proposed is changes in the water capacity fees. Typically 1-inch meters are more typical. So we're going from about $7,700 for a 1-inch meter in Cave Creek Water to just under $12,000 is the proposal. In Desert Hills Water, the capacity fee for a 1-inch meter would go from just over $12,000 to just over $24,000. And wastewater, a 1-inch meter again would go from just under $14,000 to about $21,000. So all this was outlined in the water and wastewater rate and capacity fee study. And then we had the first reading of this ordinance on November 21st. So this is the second hearing, and similar to the action item before that, if made effective tonight, there'd be a 30-day waiting period, and this would become effective, and then we'd be charging new rates for any new developers that come in. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Questions? I have one, and that is the Cave Creek water fee is about $12,000. The Desert Hills water fee is $24,000. What is the reason for the 100% difference between the two?
It partly goes down to the calculation. I know Kevin, I'm not sure if Kevin's going to be online. It actually is partly a reflection of the number of new users we're going to see in the near future on the system. Because we actually have the water resource master plan, we don't expect to see too many new users in Desert Hills. So the proportional cost of the impacts actually went up in the factor, because that's actually the growth factor is actually something that contributes to the calculations. I can pull out the original appendices.
Oh, that makes sense. There are fewer people covering the same dollars.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, right.
With the same
Okay.
infrastructure.
That makes sense.
So,
any other questions? Okay, there is public comment on this.
Reg Monachino.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, David Phelps. And you all thought you'd seen the last of me. Well, I'm back. On my favorite topic. When the town began a review of water rates and capacity fees, I was much younger then. The town spent months and months going over these fees, back and forth. Earlier this year, consultant presented another set of recommendations. I did not agree with the consultant's recommendation. Actually, the mayor was fed up with my objections. I discussed the numbers with staff, Sean, until we reached agreement. The capacity fees before you now are the best capacity fees the town has had in years. I urge you to support them. Thank you.
Thank you, Reg. That was completely unexpected. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, other comments?
No additional comments.
Okay, then we are back to council for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Motion to approve second reading of ordinance 02022-09, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the town of Cave Creek Town Code, Chapter 53, capacity charges, specifically Section 53.01, and providing for severability.
Second. Tom can have it.
Okay.
All right, Tom, you get it.
Do we have comments by?
Yes, yes.
I think we
Right.
worked long and hard on this. I think our consultants and our staff worked in unison and came to the best conclusion possible. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you for your work as well. And thank you for the planning on this.
Other comments? With that, this is roll call.
Mr. Mayor, it's not financial. The only reason you will have a vote, and if indeed it's not unanimous, then you need to do roll call. That's under
Okay.
the open meeting. So you can oral and then see if it's unanimous.
Okay, all those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Reg.
And Sean too.
Yeah.
We're on item number 5, the council discussion approval of second reading of ordinance 2022-05 and ordinance of the mayor and council of the town of Cave Creek, Maricopa County, Arizona, amending the town of Cave Creek zoning ordinance, chapter 12 entitled Site Plans, section 12.2 entitled Procedures, subsection A, numbers 7 and 8, and section 12.7 entitled Amendments and Expiration, subsections D and E, establishing an effective date and providing for repeal and severability. Planning Director.
Thank you, Mayor Morris, members of council. The next 3 items on your agenda all deal essentially with the same subject matter, and that is really just several months ago, the chairman of the Planning Commission asked staff to research how site plan review applications for commercial projects are administered in other jurisdictions within Arizona. Staff prepared and presented information related to the site plan review process in September to the Planning Commission. At that meeting in September, the Planning Commission directed staff to prepare draft text amendments for the Planning Commission to consider at their meeting in October. Staff and legal counsel vetted the proposed amendments and brought those to the Planning Commission in October. At the October meeting, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the text amendments, case A2201, A2202, and A2203, and the corresponding ordinance numbers presented are 2022-05, 2022-06, and 2022-07. And those text amendments, if adopted by council, would remove the Planning Commission from the review of the site plan cases. Pursuant to the comments from the town council hearing during consideration of first reading at its meeting held Monday, November 21st. Staff has since updated the text and the corresponding amendments, which is now presented in blue line form. If you recall, first reading it was in red. If you recall, the council at that time, there were 2 options presented based on the feedback from council received at that meeting. Staff updated it, locked it in blue line form for your consideration of second reading tonight. And those can be found on pages 93, 103, and 108 for the 3 different cases respectively. In summary, the 3 proposed amendments would eliminate the requirement of a planning commission hearing for site plan review cases while still requiring notice of new commercial development and approval by the town council pursuant to the zoning ordinance. Should council approve second reading of the proposed amendments, there would be a 30-day effective period prior to the amendments taking effect. I've also asked the chairman and vice chairman, Chairman Bob Boris and Vice Chairman Steve Breckner to be here tonight. They're also here, if you recall, on the 21st. If council has any questions, this was essentially born out of discussion from cases we were administering this year, site plan review cases where discretion and that type of thing was discussed. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Questions?
I have a question. Luke, our council, I'm glad that we will have it on the consent agenda. However, does this answer the question by certain members of the public that there will still be public comment available if deemed necessary?
That's essentially what the consent agenda allows the council the flexibility to pull something from an agenda and take public comment on it if they deem necessary.
So the council would make that decision. A member of the public can't get up to the podium and say, I'd like you to pull this agenda item from the consent agenda.
That is correct. I believe unless call to public is heard prior to the consent agenda though. So if a member of the public were to present themselves at call to public, then a council member could remove it from the consent agenda. Just based on our agenda, it's, let me get back here to the
Right.
beginning.
Close to the
Pledge of
top.
Allegiance, public announcements, call to public, and then you get into the action items.
So during the call to the public, are we,
Well, you raise a good point. I mean, this is technically the call to the public is not a substantive discussion on items already on the agenda. But given council's concern about getting public input, I think it would be appropriate if someone were to say, I see this item, I request, because you'd have to do this at the beginning.
Mhm.
But the tension here is between the size of the jurisdiction is inversely related to the degree of control asserted by council. You're much larger than some of my other jurisdictions. In my smaller jurisdictions up in the White Mountains, they do exactly what you've done historically. And that is everything goes to council. What staff has done, perhaps at the urging of the planning of the commission, is to say perhaps it's not necessary to have the planning commission involved in that dynamic. The compromise the mayor struck at the now mayor struck at the last meeting is let's make sure the public has the right to have comments. So I think it would be appropriate given that we're going down this path, given that the new code says at the consent agenda, that if indeed the member of the public says at the beginning of the meeting, call to the public, I see an item, I request that you pull this from that so that we can have that would provide public debate. But a site plan is not like zoning. Zoning is where you and the commission take away property rights. And that's why there's a much more onerous public hearing process, publication process, and a two-step approval process. Site plan really is more administrative. And you are, I'm the town attorney for 9, you're about 2/3 up in the size. And so it may be now that you don't need to do what the Pine Top Lakesides do and the Jeromes do, where everything goes to council. This is a decent compromise to streamline the process. It doesn't deny the public the right to have comments. It certainly preserves their rights when it's zoning, which is legislative. And here, I thought it was an elegant solution to say, if staff is going to pull it, I'm sorry, if council has to approve, council gets to remove it from the, they could remove it from the consent agenda to allow for public comment.
Very good. So the public and or the council can remove it from the consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Luke, I have a question. So how will the public know that they can do that? It seems like there should be a notice somewhere or somehow to get to common knowledge that you can actually do this.
Councilperson Elkema, it's going to take me a minute. I
It's okay.
apologize. The zoning procedures chapter of our ordinance has all of that specified, and that's basically descendant from state code and how we do and how we process cases. So a mailing will go out within 500 feet of the subject property. An advertisement will be placed in the newspaper. The same things that we do now, advertising for a planning commission and council meeting, we would just be doing it for a council meeting.
And so the mailing includes information about how to get your voice heard in this setting.
That is correct.
Great.
So in some of these commercial properties, if we're doing 2-story or 3-story, if they're putting lights or things like that, it's going to affect more than 500 yards or 500 feet. So how does that next layer get warned? It goes back to the same question I had when I was a couple sessions ago when we talked about the rock place. You have a two-story building and somebody puts a window in it and has it lit up at night, that's going to affect more people than just the people right next to them. So how do we take that into account? How do they get their day in court, so to speak?
Councilmember Rhodes, so 2 stories maximum height, all of the requirements that are contained within chapter 3 of the zoning ordinance apply. So they can't have light trespass. Outdoor lighting needs to be fully shielded and cast downward. All of those components are not necessarily reviewed, debated, increase, decrease through the process of going through planning commission and town council. Those are all done at the review for a building permit application, and we make sure that there's compliance and there's a photometric analysis done and there's no light bleed off of the site. As far as the impacts, I really can't speak to any greater on a site plan case. I'm not really sure how to respond to that.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, you raise a good point, but then let's contrast this with zoning. Zoning has some very specific spatial separations, 150 feet, 300 feet. For an aggrieved party for Board of Adjustment, 300 feet. Here, there is absolutely no spatial separation. If you're a member of the public and you think you're going to be harmed by light you have the right to say, pull it from the agenda. I'd like to talk about it. It actually is more streamlined. It's not as rigorous as for zoning, where there is, as I recall, it's 150 and 300. It's not 500.
No, we do 500 and a half mile for our notices.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm hearing a concern of 3 of my fellow council members that I agree with, that even though this is an administrative duty, the site plan has to go through planning department. They're at a point where the council may not be able to do anything about it, but I think there's a point at which the public wants to get up and speak. And I think it's a way of communicating with us concerns about the future. We may not be able to change that particular thing. And therefore, I would suggest that this go on the regular agenda rather than going on the consent agenda.
Well, you'd have to turn that into a motion to have it considered.
Okay, my motion would be then that we adopt the resolution as stated in our minutes, but specify that these decisions would not go on the consent agenda. They would go on the regular agenda where the public has an invitation to speak.
Is there a second?
There's a second. No, I'll second that.
Okay, second. So we're at the point of voting on this. So all those who are in favor of council, excuse me.
I'm sorry, should I read what that would look like from your page 93, just so you are aware what?
Thank you.
So chapter 12, section 12.2 procedures, item 8 would read, the site plan request shall be placed on the town council's strike consent agenda and reviewed for possible approval by the town council as set forth within this ordinance. So everything else remains the same. Consent would be stricken. So it just appear on your agenda.
Excellent, Luke.
Okay, so we ready to comment on this. So does anyone have comments on this?
Should we not have done public comment first? Before we make a motion on it?
Well, we made a motion on the original motion.
But I don't recall us going to public comment on that.
We don't have any public comment.
There's
on
nobody?
this.
Okay, good. Okay, then it doesn't matter. Let me withdraw.
Any comments?
And yeah, I have a comment, and it is simply that people in this town have opinions and they love to express them. And bringing it to the active agenda, I think will
help with that.
Mr. Mayor. With all due respect, I can't speak for the others. I just got this packet on Thursday of last week, as well as the agenda. So it's not like I really had a chance to sit down with anybody on staff to discuss this prior. I mean, I'm sure the train's leaving the station, but I'm going to speak against the motion, and I'm going to vote against it this evening. It's too serious of an issue to not be
See, the
sufficiently
motion on the
vetted.
table is the motion to
To
amend.
amend.
Well, when the motion comes, if that first amendment is approved, I plan to speak against it because the next three issues have a lot of consequence. And I just don't think it's fair to the new people to think we could have reviewed these issues either with current council members or with staff in 3 days. I just don't think it's reasonable. I don't know what the urgency is in getting this out, but I'm not going to request it, but I would just indicate that these issues, and as a former member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I understand the importance of that first filtering and review process, and it played a valuable role in the past. I'm sorry that this is seen as something that is positive, because I don't think it's in the interest of the residents myself, but I'm not fully informed yet, but I certainly couldn't be in 4 days. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to amend, and we are, there's no public comment on it. And we are right now debating that. Council.
Yeah, I've seen with the history of this town, when we allow, I mean, there are rules that he has to follow. The site plans come to us, or go to the count or to the planning commission currently. And then they come to us and they've got all of the stipulations that must be followed that are on there, and they're boilerplate. Everyone I've seen in 17 and a half years has had the same ones. And the only time that we get in trouble is if the appointed or the electeds start adding stuff to that, which we are not allowed to do, and we're going beyond. And if you end up with a developer who does not want to follow that, and all of a sudden you become like the United States government, who pays farmers not to plant crops. We pay developers not to develop. That's my concern. I think this is just opening us up to make big mistakes down the road if we don't do exactly what's written in the thing to begin with.
We're still looking for comments on the motion to amend.
I think it's positive, although I think Mr. Augerton Council Member Augerton has a very good point. I think that our new members have not had enough opportunity to review this information with the staff and be educated and informed about it. So I would prefer to table it for now.
Okay, let's deal with the motion on, and then you can make a motion to table it until the next
Yeah.
meeting. So,
Counselor, point of order. Counselor, once there's a suggestion to table, does that stop discussion?
So you have a motion, and we have to act on the motion.
Okay.
So you act on that motion, then depending on the outcome, there could be a motion to table.
yeah, we need to deal with this emotion, with this
With
emotion, the
okay.
emotions too, but with this
The amendment,
motion.
we have, yeah. we
And
did have the
then
amendment.
once we clear this, then we can look for another motion to amend our motion to table.
Thank you.
So at this point, we're still on comments, and I think everyone's spoken except me. I just don't see the only benefit from allowing routine public comment on something that cannot be affected, that cannot change, that is going to go through just as it is. It really is more proper, I think, to develop the code underneath that than it is to do it over and over and over again on every site plan. So I'm going to oppose the motion, and I do think there is merit to postponing it. We'll give that an opportunity after we take this vote. Any last comments? Okay, we're looking for your approval or disapproval of Councilmember McGuire's motion to amend that brings it back onto the regular council agenda. So with that, I'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Mr. Mayor, before you call for the vote, I want to make sure I understand the motion. I thought Mr. McGuire offered to amend the process, but he also is proposing the motion be adopted with his amendment? Or are you doing an amendment to the ordinance prior to the vote?
Well, it has to be amended first and then we'll deal with.
Okay, because it sounded like when he made the original motion that he wanted to add the language and then recommended
Well,
approval.
but we have to agree to amend what we have here.
Okay,
first.
I just want to make sure we're
So
wrong.
this is just for the amendment.
This is just for
for-
the amendment. This simply would strike the idea that it has to go to the consent agenda. It would send it to the regular agenda where the public may be invited to speak.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to amend, say aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No. Motion fails and we are back to the original.
We need to have a voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. Call the roll, please, Teresa.
Councilmember Elkma,
Yes.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes,
I don't know enough about the issue, so I'm going to abstain.
Vice Mayor Royer,
No.
Councilmember Algerton,
Aye.
Councilmember Bunch,
No.
Mayor Morris.
No, motion fails 3-3. So we're back to the original. Now, a lot of people have suggested that we table this. Is there a motion to table?
I move that we table this issue until our three new members are brought up to speed on the justification for doing this action.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mayor, if I may, could we consider a date certain?
Yes.
So we don't have to re-advertise because
Yes.
that's quite a bit of money to put that in the newspaper to print out the ordinance text.
What date certain would you like?
It's your council, sir.
Uh,
Just the 19th.
I'll suggest the
of-
second meeting in January.
Second meeting in January?
Is that good?
Well,
No,
No.
I would advise against the second meeting in
Oh, okay.
January, knowing what's
Not sure
coming
why.
before the council.
well, this is the, well,
There'll be two-
there is
there'll
no
be two
first
zone
meeting.
change cases.
Oh.
The second meeting in January. So I would say the options would be December 19th or first meeting in February.
6th.
The February 6th. If I were to recommend.
Do the new council members think they can get this studied up in
Not
2
by the
weeks?
19th,
No.
the German.
February
I don't think
6th.
that's
Okay,
what-
so we're down to February.
What's the hurry? Unless it can be, I'm sorry. I mean, if there's an urgency, it could be communicated this evening, which would be helpful.
Is there an urgency, Luke?
No, ma'am.
Then I'd say February 6th.
Okay, so you wish to amend your motion to
I
the
will
first
amend my
meeting? in February.
motion to include the first meeting in February
As a date certain.
as the date certain. Yes.
Okay, the motion is to table this until the first meeting in February. All those, is there any further discussion?
I guess the last thing to discuss is we need to make sure that since we're doing this, that all three of the new members feel that they have had the opportunity or will take the opportunity to be advised of why we're suggesting this. Is that good?
Other comments? Okay, well, all those in favor of the motion to table signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Voice vote, please. Roll call.
Councilmember Elkma,
Yes.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Royer,
Yes.
Councilmember Arton,
Aye.
Councilmember Bunch,
No.
Mayor Morris.
Yes. Okay, the motion passes to bring this up at the first meeting in February. Now, we have a whole series of agenda items here, and we've just thrown a monkey wrench into number 1. Shall we consider, do these all stand together or all fail together?
If you want to make my life a nightmare, then they should stay together. Yes, absolutely. If council were to approve, for example, if council were to approve one of these text amendments and not the others,
Yeah.
then we've got a huge disconnect across chapters in our zoning ordinance.
That Yeah.
So it'd be my recommendation to continue the other two cases as well, once they're both read into the record, please.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to table items 5 and 5, let's see,
6 and 7.
or 6 and 7, to, along to the first meeting in February.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's tabled the first meeting in February.
Excellent, thank you. Still make the steer roping for the NFR if I live right now.
Thanks, Luke.
Oh, let's see. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Done.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.